Guten Tag, Klasse. Heute wiederholen wir Konjunktiv 2. Good day, class. Today we are reviewing the subjunctive mood. The subjunctive mood is not really a tense, it's more of a verb form used to express uncertainty, doubt, or a contrary to reality condition, so anything that might be hypothetical. It is also frequently used to reflect politeness and good manners, which is how we're going to focus on at this unit when we're talking about the environment. The subjunctive mood can be used in various tenses, similar to the passive voice. As in English, German builds off the past tense of verbs to form the subjunctive. For example, hätte comes from haben, which is the infinitive form of the verb. The imperfect is hatte, and the subjunctive adds umlauts and becomes hätte. So here you can see the subjunctive hätte. Hätte is hypothetically had or would have. Another example is sein, which is the infinitive form. The imperfect is war, and the subjunctive form adds umlauts and an e at the end, wäre. And here you see wäre. Notice that the ich and er forms of these verbs are the same. They all end in an e. So as we're using this for hypotheticals, there's two different ways that you can use them. You can have the word wenn come first, such as these examples above. So if you wanted to say if I had, so for example, let's say if I had a good car. Wenn ich ein gutes Auto hätte, if I had a good car. You could also choose to just have the verb at the start, the hypothetical, and say hätte ich ein gutes Auto. Personally, I like to use wenn at the start of the sentence because then you're actually saying the word if, and it makes me feel that it's more similar with the English. Both forms are grammatically correct, so you can choose whichever you're more comfortable with. Wenn ich ein gutes Auto hätte, or hätte ich ein gutes Auto. If I could, wenn ich something könnte, or könnte ich. If I would, for would you use würde, so wenn ich Deutsch lernen würde, if I would learn German, or würde ich Deutsch lernen. The one thing to remember with hätte and wäre is that hätte can have the meaning had or would have. Wäre can mean were, or because its base verb is sein, to be, it can also mean would be. So take a look at the couple sample sentences below. If I could play soccer, I would not play baseball. Wenn ich Fußball spielen könnte, würde ich nicht Baseball spielen. Or you can choose to put the verb at the end. Könnte ich Fußball spielen, würde ich nicht Baseball spielen. Same thing for the sentence below. If I had $1 million, I would buy a fast car. Wenn ich $1 Million hätte, würde ich ein schnelles Auto kaufen. You can choose to again put the verb first. Hätte ich $1 Million, würde ich ein schnelles Auto kaufen. The one thing I want you to make sure you take note of is that you end up with verbs on either side of the comma. So könnte and würde meet at the comma. In German, we're so used to that verbs have to be in second position. That's why würde comes after the comma, because the clause, wenn ich Fußball spielen könnte, counts as part 1 of the sentence. Part 2 has to be a verb, hence why würde is after the comma. So let's take a look at some sample sentences. If I had to play golf, I would play badly or poorly. Say you're not good at it. So we want to use the verb to have to, because we see had to. That would be müssen. So the subjunctive of müssen is müsste. So we want to say the word if, and wenn is a verb kicker. So wenn ich Golf spielen müsste, I would play badly. We know that the verb has to come next. Würde ich schlecht spielen. And you can choose if you want to have the verb first. If so, all you have to do is put müsste at the start and get rid of wenn. Müsste ich Golf spielen? Würde ich schlecht spielen? Let's look at the next one. If I were in Germany, I would eat a pretzel. Yes, please, sounds good to me. So we want to use were. That would be wäre. Wenn ich in Deutschland, I'm going to shorten that here just to a D, and wäre, wenn ich in Deutschland wäre, I would, würde ich, eine Brezel essen. If you want to put the verb first, you can put wäre at the start of the sentence and get rid of wenn. Wäre ich in Deutschland, würde ich eine Brezel essen. Two more. If you had a dog, I would not visit. I'm not the biggest dog fan. I'm more of a cat person. So, had. Wenn du, and the dog is the direct object, so ein will become einen. Wenn du einen Hund, we know that had is hätte, but because the subject is du, we have to add that st ending. Wenn du einen Hund hättest, I would, würde ich, nicht besuchen. If we had money, we should go on vacation. So if we had, wenn wir Geld hätten, we should, sollten. So hypothetical of sollen is sollten. Sollten wir Ferien machen. And again, if you want to have that verb at the start, you can put hätten at the start and get rid of wenn. Hätten wir Geld, sollten wir Ferien machen. Now, say you had verbs that weren't these verbs. All you have to do is use the imperfect form of your verbs. Some of those verbs were special, like hätte, wäre. They got new umlauts. The majority of verbs will just follow their imperfect form. Think about the English. You're saying, if I played golf, I would be bad. So you want to say played. So the imperfect of spielen, oops, let's change the color here. Spielen is spielte. So if I played golf, wenn ich Golf spielte. And then you can have the rest of your hypothetical. If you ever feel uncertain about your verbs and you're not quite sure what the imperfect is, a great thing to do would just to use the infinitive and add the word werden. So, for example, you could have said here, wenn ich Golf spielen würde, if I would play golf. So it's still the hypothetical, but you're just using the infinitive form of the verb that you might be more comfortable with. These are both perfectly good ways to use it. So keep in mind, if you're comfortable with your imperfect verbs, they can be used in the subjunctive mood.